Hey everybody, this is Dave Nasty with NextLevelGuitar.com. So hopefully there you got a little bit of a demonstration of how we're going to talk about part 2 of Joe Satriani today. And what we're going to focus on more than anything is what his left hand does and kind of his approach to just overall legato exercises. In this particular key that we're going to work on, we're going to play like we kind of normally do in the key of G. So it's a good opportunity for you now, if you're unfamiliar with any of the shapes, to refer to some of the other videos that we have that talk about the positioning and the mapping of these keys and some of the scales that we're going to use in this particular exercise. So that's a good way to go to get started with this. One thing I have to mention, I always do, click on that link below that you see in that YouTube text box. If you want a video that is not available on YouTube, a free video not available on YouTube, that comes with a free coinciding ebook full of a ton of great information, scales and chords, everything that you need, it's in that link below. Check it out. So the first thing that we want to talk about is how we can really warm up our left hand. A lot of times people really think about picking or your right hand so much, or a lot of the motions that happen, you know, in that regard. We're going to focus completely just on the left hand, and we'll start with some basic exercises. We'll outline the scale shapes that we're going to use, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about some of the usage that's really common to his style. So I think it'll be a good way to go. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus on a whole step distance between each finger, and we're just going to play that symmetrically across the fretboard. So let's start on the 3rd fret in this particular case. And like I said, we're just going to do the distance of one whole step, all in hammer-ons straight across the guitar. So slowly we'll have this. Cool atonal way to practice, but how you can make it different and a little bit more fun for yourself is to practice it in this kind of fashion. You can go up one fret, still ascend, but descend on the guitar. So that'll give you this. Go up a fret. Sounds like a cool computer game, right? But it's a good way for you to just get warmed up with that left hand. That's one example that's going to help you out with this particular style. Another thing that you can do, and a real common pull-off pattern, we'll start on the high E string, and we're going to play a group of 7 notes. And that's going to go just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at all those pull-offs that are going on there. It's real important to keep your thumb positioned in the back proper, have your hands kind of tilted there, arched so you stay on your fingertips as best as you possibly can. And we mute a lot with our right hand. Watch what's happening as I do this. I'm going to hit each string as I go, but I'm going to pay very close attention to dampening the strings as I go this way on the guitar. It's very, very subtle. I'm going to turn here so you can kind of see. It's important to control these things when you have a lot of distortion. A lot of that comes from the back part of my hand here as I'm resting on the guitar, and that's really, really crucial when we're doing this. So, looking back at the exercise, this is what we have. We're going to go up 1 fret. Now, that's a bear, right? We're just keeping one atonal scale shape as we go across just 2 whole steps. We're focusing on that distance because it is the most difficult. So if you find this to be too much of a stretch for you, or you might find that sometimes you need to get used to your 3rd finger as opposed to your middle finger with that distance, right? That's one thing to think about, but you could surely start with these other common shapes that you have within scales, not just this one. We have a half step and a whole step a lot of time when we're playing on the guitar, and many different scale shapes. You can do the same thing. Sounds kind of ugly, right? Just because we're playing it as strictly an exercise, but it's going to get you warmed up for the style of Joe Satriani, and that's what we're really working towards here. So, of course, can't leave out your whole step and your half step distance at the same time. So we have Now these are things people do all the time, but it's more behind the scenes. You don't really get a chance to see a lot of this, so this is really important to have this in your everyday. Alright, a couple more. Another one that you can do is you can start with your first finger. You're going to hammer up 3 notes and then descend your 3 notes. Alright, so we have... Again, one more time. For the sake of time, I'm going to kind of stick in these one position here, and I'm not going to travel all the way up the fretboard, but that's how I urge you to practice this, because I want to get as much content into this as I possibly can. So the next thing that we're going to think about is we're going to hold our first finger down and we're going to trill between our middle finger and our pinky. Look how much muting I got going on over here in my right hand. I'm holding down all those guys. Just making sure we don't hear any of those ring out. Go to the second string. Alright, and that's what we're going to do to carry through this. So let's discuss the scale shapes really quick and knock those guys out and dive into this. G major scale looks just like this. A Dorian shape. And the last one that we're going to do is we're going to actually use your F sharp Locrian, or your 7th mode of your scale. These are all just going to take on the tonality of G major or E minor by the time we get done with this exercise, but we're just making sure that we're very specific in what we're going to do. Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about is some movement that looks just like this. Right? So, as you can hear, I didn't dampen out those low strings enough when I was heading that direction, but the point was made. Our initial lick looks just like this. I'm starting on my B note. I'm going to ascend 3 notes, pull off, slide up 1 fret, ascend 3 notes within my scale shape, and slide back down. Now, this piece, what's starting to happen? I'm hearing some harmonics. I'm keeping this pull-off pattern, and I'm sliding my right hand over the string ever so slightly. And gently slide your hand across. Look at my palm here. I'm going to use this part of my hand. Creating a really cool harmonic effect as I go. You can really see the point of dragging yourself through all those exercises with your left hand. We got to keep that momentum going. So, again, what we started off with was this. Now I'm going to go into my pattern of 7. I'm picking every one that I'm starting with. I'm starting with my pinky. Now I'm just doing dragging through. And then hitting my E chord there to kind of give a little bit of resolution between this. Now, this sliding motion that you have with your left hand, or all this overall work with your left hand, is best to be done just by starting slow and connecting some shapes together. This works in any key, works in any scale, and is something that you could just start really slowly at and put into your playing. So let's try this on a high string and hear what that sounds like. A lot of patterns that I'll do in my own playing I got from listening to Joe Satriani as a kid. It was one of the first concerts that I ever saw, and it was extremely influential to me. I gravitated to it because I found that with my left hand I could pull off some of these faster licks before I had to take the time to work at my picking. So a lot of times you'll hear these exercises and there'll be great things to do to help sync up your overall style in every aspect of your technique. So again, let's talk about the cool points from this lesson. We're going to talk about these exercises, or think about these exercises. Those are the first thing. The second thing that you want to do is you want to get comfortable position shifting with these different exercises. You can start on the third string as we did. You can do it on the fourth string. And then we talked about this. Was curious as to whether or not it was going to happen there for a minute, all right? So, good things that you could do in the style of Joe Satriani. Hey, I'm going to play out a little bit and see if I can redeem myself here and do a little bit of legato playing myself. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Remember, go to the website. You can't miss it. There's tons of good content on there. Adding videos to it right now as we speak. nextlevelguitar.com. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.